Are you struggling to learn the guitar? Right, if you are, I'm going to share with you my very best tip for solving this problem. Now, I've taught about over 20,000 hours of one-to-one guitar lessons with real people in the room, in people's living rooms, in their kitchens, going through this stuff, trying to figure it out with them. The number one thing that I see that holds guitar learners back is actually the way they actually address the instrument. It's their posture. It's their actual fundamental technique in how they relate to the instrument. Now, don't worry, I know that talking about, posture isn't the most sexy thing in the world. People on the internet want quick tips that will, quick tips and tricks that will solve the problem. But that's not the reality. Yeah, I've done this a lot and I know what the actual reality is. And for a lot of people, it's just their posture that holds them back, the way they address the guitar. If there's errors in your posture, you'll never be able to play the guitar in the way that you want. Nothing matters more than this, because this is the foundation for everything else. Okay, here's a quick checklist for perfect guitar posture. Okay, number one, we play the guitar with our whole arm. It's vital that your forearm is clear. Yeah, you don't just play the guitar with your fingertips. We move our arm the whole time. You have to play in a way that your forearm is free to move around. Okay, don't tuck your arm into your midriff like this. Don't rest it on your thigh. Yeah, if you sit on a couch or something, people tend to get really squished like this. That's not good. You need complete freedom in your forearm. Let me show you an example of how your forearm moves. This might be a bit weird on the camera, but hey, let's give it a try. All right, so if I'm playing a G chord, I just want you to look at my wrist. So forget what's happening with my fingers. If I'm playing a G chord, my wrist is like this. A D chord, it's like this. A C chord, it's like this. Can you see how my wrist is moving around? Yeah, depending on what chord I'm playing, my wrist moves all over the place. But if your hand is like this, tucked into your side, then your wrist can't move. Don't restrict your forearm. It's super, super important. Grab your guitar and play something now and see if your arm is restricted in some way. If it's not, no problem. If it is, this will be a huge breakthrough for you. Okay, quick one. Your elbow needs to be over the ridge line of the guitar. It can't be here. If it's back here, you can't strum properly because your arm is restricted. Bring your elbow over the ridge line of the guitar, and then you've got more freedom for your arm to be a pivot. Okay, use the tips of your fingers to play your chords. Don't use the pads of your fingers. Right, if I play an E minor chord, yeah, I want you to see this. If I'm playing an E minor chord, can you see that there's fresh air here? I can actually put my finger through there. Can you see that okay? Yeah, I know the camera's focusing a bit weird, but I think you can see that I'm making a circle there. No, maybe not. Maybe the camera's going a bit too strange. But I hope you could see that my hand isn't coming in at a shallow angle like this. There we go. It's not doing that. It's like this. Yeah, I'm up on the tips of my fingers. You want to play, fret the strings as close to your fingernails as you can without it being painful. Alright, I'm going to show you my fingers. It's always a bit weird seeing some of these fingers on the internet. Looks kind of gross. But I think you can see the lines on my fingers there of where the guitar strings are actually digging in. Okay, my next tip. Most of the time your thumb should be halfway down the neck on the back of the guitar. So let's try and show you this. Alright, so depending on what chord you're playing, your thumb can move. But most of the time you want it to be around about here. If your thumb is up here like this, what that does is it steals the reach from your fingers. So if you bring your thumb down here, you can move your hand forward more, which gives you more reach as a guitarist. There's a finite distance between the tip of your thumb coming round here to the tip of this finger, and that's your reach as a guitarist. If your thumb comes up the neck too far at the back, then what you've done is you've shortened the reach of your fingers. The solution to this, whenever you feel like you can't reach a chord, the solution is always to lower your thumb on the neck of the guitar. Yeah, always you lower your thumb and move your wrist forwards. Now that will feel really precarious and weird at first. It's the same for everybody. But after a while you will get used to that feeling, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, my fingers are really long, I can reach where I need to. Now of course it takes time to develop the strength and dexterity and accuracy in those fingers, but the starting point is actually giving your fingers, the physical amount of space that they need to be able to reach the notes. So anytime you feel like you can't reach a chord, lower your thumb on the neck, move your wrist forward, Most of your hand can be in front of the guitar neck. Like, this is revolutionary for a lot of people when you're teaching them. Most people think that their hand kind of sits behind the neck and their fingers come around, but that's not the case. Your whole hand can be in front of the neck. Let me show you this in a physical example. If my thumb is up here high, and for lots of people it is, especially if they play something like a C chord, then their thumb is up here. Now watch how high my fingers can reach. Right, I'm really stretching them. That's as high as they can go. Yeah? Look at like this distance here. That's as high as they can go. If I lower my thumb and move my wrist forwards, like, look how much further my fingers can go. Never done this before, it looks a bit weird. But I hope but I hope that showed to you, you know, the difference that you get. Those extra couple of inches, like, it makes all the difference for fretting those difficult chords. Okay, the last tip that I wanted to share with you here is something that most novice guitarists overlook, and that's the thing that you sit on when you play the guitar is super important. This matters a lot because it affects the height of your thigh. Now, if you sit on a stool in the kitchen, then, you know, your bum might sort of be here. Say this is your backside here, and your legs might sort of lean forward slightly. For most people when they're on a stool, unless they're super tall, the backside goes here, their legs slope this way. What that means is that the guitar slopes away from you when you're playing. So that's not ideal because you feel like you have to chase the instrument and pull it back to your body. And the alternative to that, which is much more common, is somebody sits on a sofa, which is quite padded, you know, and comfy on your backside to feel like you're cozy and, you know, on the couch. But what happens is your backside sinks down into the couch and your knees come up. If you can picture somebody sitting down, their knees come up. So what that means is that sometimes the guitar gets really sort of squished into your body and it restricts your movement. What we want is for your backside to be here and for your thighs to be completely flat or sloped up a little bit, just to make the guitar rest and snuggle back onto your body. It feels nice and secure. This is something most people don't even think about. They just sit on whatever they want. Let's say you sit in an armchair to play the guitar. Well, the arms on the armchair will restrict how you can play. It forces your arm to come into your midriff, which we know we don't want a lot of the time. And also it's just restrictive. You feel enclosed as a guitarist. That's not what we want. Your arms need to be completely clear. The best thing in the world to sit on if you're playing the guitar, and you'll see, like, you know, people in the studio will do this when they want to play and they want to get it just right, is they will sit on something like a drummer's stool. You know, it's essentially a stool with no arms where they can get the height just right. Nothing around them, no restrictions. The backside is here, the knee is here, the thigh is nice and level. They've got no restrictions around them. Don't mistake this. The thing you sit on is really important when you play. I know I've thrown a lot at you in this video, but there's some really, really good tips here that will make a fundamental difference to the way you play the guitar. And if you're really struggling to learn the guitar, I guarantee one of these tips will be a transformation for you.